Hey, thanks for visiting Duckman Cycles VW Garage. I'm your host, the Duckman. With my 1956 Beetle, also known as Eleanor. And she came to me as a completely destroyed car that was sunk underneath about 6 feet of seawater during Hurricane Ivan and left outside to rot for 10 years after that. She wasn't covered, she wasn't put in a shelter, she wasn't anything. So needless to say, the weather got to her, and she ended up destroyed before I got her. Just about every panel on her either needed to be replaced or repaired, so that's exactly what I did, and I did the best I could with the parts that I had, a lot of which is non-original, but I did the best that I could to make it look like it's original. But knowing that I wasn't ever going to get the car straight, I wound up turning her into a chop top. There is Eleanor right there. A completely custom chop top, and I really shouldn't call her a chop. I keep saying that, but it's really not. I actually built her up to the way you see. I started by laying out the heater channels and then worked my way up laying pieces down until finally I got the shape that I wanted. And it's pretty close, at least around the pan section, to stock. But around the top, things are quite different. That roof has been dropped a lot. The windshield is less than half the height of the donor windshield frame that I used on it. This is, of course, a 1956 oval, but most of the front end on this car is actually from a 69 because that was what I had readily available. You can see where the gas tank flap used to be that I filled in. The windshield frame also used to be from a 69, so it was about twice as high. So I took out a considerable amount of windshield out of that to drop that down the way it is. But as I said, I built it up. So I actually built the car up, and then I made a roof for it and worked my way through that, and the roof is a whole bunch of different pieces of stuff. But honestly, if I were to do it again, and I were to use well, I hate cutting up a solid car, but if I was going to do a chop top on a solid car, I would do it with one roof. I wouldn't cut the roof into so many pieces the way I did. It's stock width, it's almost stock length. The piece that I added in here, I kind of wish I didn't. It's about 1 inch and 3/4, 2 inches long, and it caused the roof to get longer, and it screwed up the deck lid in the back. It actually goes down the rear apron a little further than it's supposed to. That doesn't really bother me too much because it's one of those things that a lot of people just aren't going to notice. But I'm very happy with this overall. Now what I need to do is I need to work on the passenger side door. You probably saw in the last video that I did the driver's side door. The passenger side door has a bunch of different cuts in a lot of different places, and this is the one that I kind of experimented with this. This is the door that I did first. So this is the one that doesn't really fit right. There's a huge gap along the top here, and even when you're sitting inside of it, you can see the light come through here. The gap is just way too big, and I'm not going to rely on the seals to make that work. It needs to be right. And as you see here, this drip gutter actually bows away from the door. So what I'm probably going to do to fix that is cut a notch here, and bend this down into position, and then weld it back together. And I think those relief cuts will make all the difference in the world in getting that straight. And then in order to make the door fit this gap, I'm going to have to cut it here and cut it back here and raise that thing up almost a little more than 1/4 of an inch, maybe as much as 3/8 of an inch. We'll have to play with that a little bit. Yes, I'm using inch measurements because I am very familiar with those off the top of my head, but when it comes to working with finer detail or smaller parts, I like to use millimeters. Yes, I actually use both systems. I do understand that metric is a lot easier to use, but sometimes with the tooling that I have, you just got to go with the imperial standard. So anyways, yeah, I have to raise this up a few bacons, because that's my new unit of measurement. We actually worked on that together here in some of my YouTube comments. So yeah, bacon is a new unit of measurement. So we're actually going to bring this up a couple of bacons and make that fiddle in there a little bit better. So anyways, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Pluck the little dingle belly down there next to the subscribe button. And don't forget to join the Facebook group page, Duckman Cycles VW Garage. There'll be discussion of this project, as well as, I don't know, maybe even the Poof Moped. That pops up from time to time. Thanks you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. And hopefully this storm stays up. Hopefully it stays up. I don't know. We'll see if we make it. Over on my other channel, VV the Duck VV, there will be storm updates. This is Hurricane Michael that's above us here. So if you haven't subscribed already to VV the Duck VV, you might want to if you want to see the storm updates. Of course, I'm in Pensacola and it's supposed to hit the Panama City area, which is about 120 miles or so to the east. And that means we'll be on the west side of the storm, and that's usually a good place to be. So Pensacola probably won't be hit too hard, and I hate saying that because, you know, that's when the storm suddenly takes a turn and goes the other way. But if we're lucky, it will slam, well, if Pensacola is lucky, let me rephrase that. If Pensacola is lucky, it will continue to go through Panama City the way it's currently steering. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't want to see anybody in Panama City get hurt, you know, or messed up, but at the same time, I'd rather see them than me. You know how it is, human nature. Anyways, guys, let's roll that intro. Thanks for watching. Okay, we're back. How I think I'm going to treat this sucker is, I need to fill this gap up in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut it on this side right here. And I'm not going to do anything to this side just yet. And I'm going to push this up as far as it'll go and see just what it looks like along here. I may not have to modify this all that much because it's got a much bigger gap over here than it does over here. And I think if I just raise that up, that might be enough to get it. And then if I cut this out here, I might be able to just bend that a little bit and knock the gutter into place. Over on the driver's side, it's much tighter along here, and it opens up just a little bit up in the front up here. But as you can see, there's no light coming through on that side. And this was, yeah, in fact, looking through here, I don't know if you could see it, but yeah, there's light coming through there a lot. Like all the way from about here to about here, there's light coming through. Okay, well, the door doesn't fall down or anything when I open it up, so that's a good thing. That's definitely a good thing. Alright, let's go ahead and start cutting. I guess it's time for me to start, well, I guess I don't have to mark any lines. There's already a line here from where I didn't finish welding it. So I'll just cut these little welds out, make a slice right through the front here, knock that weld out, open this up, I'll stick something in there and see what it looks like, and then put a couple of tacks on it and try opening and closing it and see what we can do. Okay, leaving this side alone, as I said, cut the gap out in there, and man, I had to open that up a lot. And part of that is because I actually used the angle grinder with a disc in there, so the disc actually made its own cut that was kind of wide. I didn't want to sit over here with a body saw and just take forever, since I knew I was going to have to fill it anyway. But yeah, that's going to require a strip to be wrapped around the inside of here. But looking at that gap, that closed it right up. It's a little uneven right here. This gutter appears to be just a little bit high, and I don't think that's the fault of the door. I think rather the roof of the gutter is probably a little bent, probably from me assembling it, fabricating it, you know, twisting, pulling, banging, you know, the whole works to make this car fit. Looking at the front here, this gap actually closed up a little bit too. It still needs to be shut a little more, and I think that can be addressed by moving the gutter, as I said. Just put a couple little relief cuts in it and just tap it into place, and I think that will go to where it needs to be. So that turned out to not quite be as much work as I thought it was going to be, but yeah, let's go ahead and start welding this thing in and see how she looks. And if I'm satisfied with the location and the door opens and closes properly, then that's where we're going to make it stay. Okay, I closed that gap up a little bit using a smaller square shafted screwdriver and played with it a bit, and the corner clears the gutter up on the top. The other one before just did not. And I put a piece of just a piece of flat bar in there, and that gives me my gap, or at least tries to maintain the gap while I'm welding on this thing. Little trick there. All depends on the size of the gap, and in this case it's good enough. It's good enough. It should get it to where I need it to be. I think I'm going to need to push in on this just a little bit like that, and then start tacking this together, or at least spreading the gap anyway. Once I got the gap spread and I got a couple of welds put into it, I should be able to make a strip to wrap around this to weld it all together. Well, that simple change over here made all the difference in the world, because no longer can I put my finger between here and the drip rail. Yeah, it actually it won't even go in there. That gap looks great. It looks really good, and it closed up all the way up to here, and up here it even looks like it might have closed a little bit, because when I lifted that side, it causes this to go over a little bit. So yeah, it actually did close that gap a little bit too. And I can still see light through it looking through here, but it's not like it was. I mean, before I could see it from about here to here, and now I only see a section in here. So yeah, that did move the entire door. I am going to cut the drip rail right here, probably only right there, and then knock it into place, and then put a little filler through it and call this side done as far as that's concerned. I still have to get in here though and make a strip to go around the piece of this door. I still have to fill in this little triangle up here. I still got to weld all the way across this thing, but this isn't necessary for the show. But what is necessary is I want to get this kind of stuff done, because that's just yeah, fugly. Fugly is the nice word we're going to use for it. Fugly. And this, like I said, this is the first door that I did, and a lot of this was so rotted that when I started cutting, pieces were falling out of it. So yeah, this is kind of a mess over here, but I'm going to straighten this all out, and it's not going to look nearly so bad. I mean, even this is just trashed in here. There's like a dent in here with this caved in. I might even cut the weld out and put it back together. And you can see here where this was kinked, so it causes this entire side of the door to push upwards. Yeah, I can push it back down into place, but it looks really uneven. And that's one of the reasons why it looks like there's a downward slope here. And that might be one of the reasons why it looks like the rear window is higher than here, because that downward slope makes it look like it's stepping up, but in fact it's not. These are actually very, very even. There you go. Just to give you an idea of measurement, you can see where the contour leans away from me is the same on both the rear window and the driver's side door. This door is going to need some more surgery, particularly through here. I have to cut out this rusty section anyway, so what I'll do is I'll make that all straight, and then that will no longer be an issue. I'll get that thing nice and straight, and the door will look proper, and yeah, I'll be much happier with it when that happens. Likewise here on the driver's side, you see the windows actually are even, but this one does look a little higher because it does have that lip, which gets covered by the rubber. You see what I mean? Yep. Cool. Cool. The driver's side, we put that together yesterday, looking pretty good. I need to throw some phosphoric acid on some of that bare metal before that hurricane starts and the humidity goes way up, because then it's going to start flash rusting. And over here on the driver's side, over here on the passenger side, I keep calling it the frickin' driver's side. It's not the driver's side, it's the damn passenger side. But over here, we're going to get the rest of this cleaned up and fixed, but probably not today. Okay, we're going to call it a wrap for the day. I have to go meet for a Volkswagen Club meeting. Our show is in less than 2 weeks, so we have to go discuss things like online judging system, which is something that I put together, and t-shirts and trophies and all the fun stuff that comes along with a car show. So I have to head out to that. That's going to be a dinner meeting. So that's, of course, not dark yet, but I'll be showing up there right about the time it starts to get dark. So I got to get inside, push the car inside, you know the drill, take a shower. So if you like my videos, of course, like, comment, subscribe. Please pluck that little dingle belly down you're seeing at the bottom so that we get updates every time I upload a new video. Don't forget to check out my Duckman Cycles VW Garage Facebook page. When you get up there, join the page. There'll be a discussion on this project, as well as anything else that I've got or anything else anybody else has. So thanks very much for watching, you guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye.